So this one is the latest from Kate Grenville, Restless Dolly Maunder. And I love the cover of this one. I think it's really beautiful. I did notice on Goodreads that there are a few different covers for this one, so I'm not sure if this is the Canadian cover or what, but I think this cover design is stunning. So historical fiction set in New South Wales in Australia in 1881. Young Dolly compares her downtrodden, hardworking mother to the local school teacher who's able to walk with her head high and has more independence. And she feels determined to find a way out of the narrow life prescribed to women. When Dolly is finally prevailed upon to marry, her marriage has bitter times, but she becomes the captain of her own ship by making savvy financial decisions for her family, moving them around from place to place to increase their income. So Kate Grenville is a beloved Australian author who has written, loads of books now, I think. I've previously reviewed her book, A Room Made of Leaves, so I'll drop a link to that one, because that was also a really good one. That one was also about an interesting, strong woman from Australia's history. This book is based on the author's own family, which is really interesting. Dolly is Grenville's own grandmother, who she has some memories of from when she was really small. She combined research and her knowledge of the times she's writing about with family anecdotes and stories and things like that to create a very interesting story about a tough and fascinating woman. The book carries us through Dolly's life from childhood till death, through childhood to marriage. Parenthood. Marriage, parenthood. Turn of the century, war. She has 3 children, retirement, back into the workplace, roaring 20s, Great Depression, and onto old age. It's kind of her whole life. And it's quite an interesting time. Each chapter shifts us a few years forward. It's not a long book, but I like how the structure worked for the story and the passage of time. It sort of moved forward in little spurts, but it date-wise, but it felt very smooth narrative-wise. There are no quotations around the dialogue in this one, which is a style choice I don't love generally. When someone's speaking, I like to know they're speaking, but it's not a major problem, honestly. What's really compelling about this book is the family dynamics and the place in the world that Dolly makes for herself. She's born into a very hard place and time. Women had no agency, limited education, and were really defined by who they were the daughter or wife of, having no inherent status of their own. These were also times when children were seen and not heard. So that's kind of her upbringing. Her own mother, who she sees when she's a child, she sees her just bowed down by grief and hard work. And because of that, her mother is a bit of a distant figure. Her father is rough and cold and an uneducated man, so he doesn't value education. So there's no time for feelings or indulgence in this world that she's born into. And this really shapes Dolly's life. She becomes the leader and the entrepreneur in her family after she's married. She has an excellent head for business, but as a mother, she isn't able to express her love and feelings for her children freely. She longs to be able to get out of her own way and soften sometimes and sort of be motherly, but she's never had that behavior modeled for her. And to me, reading about that in this book felt like such an everyday tragedy. Like it's really tragic to see that and to understand where Dolly is coming from and what she misses out on. And at the end of the book, Grenville tells how her mother, who was Dolly's daughter, wondered why Dolly could never love her. So it's really sad. Grenville really thinks into this, and the way that the hard times and the emotional reticence that was expected of that era really shaped Dolly. She finds her heart. The author finds the heart of Dolly, and I think that's such a wonderful thing about this novel. It really sets it apart. Outside of this, the book is a slice of Australian women's lives and history, and it makes the point that that generation of women, Dolly's generation, was like a hinge for change in women's freedom and status. It's a page-turning story about a woman who had a cool head for business and led an interesting life at a time when there was a lot of historical events and change and things like that happening, and the roles that women could take started to open up. So I liked this book, and it made me think all the more about ordinary lives that don't make it into the history books. It's a great read. If you like books that are a portrait of a woman's life or a journey through time, like historical fiction that takes over, so many eras like this one does, you'll love this one. It's a really great, heartfelt read. And thank you to PGC for the copy of this book for review. You can check out some of my other videos. I also have another channel and socials, so you can find links below if you want more of that. And if you want to hang out again, remember to like and subscribe. And you can always leave a comment, let me know what you thought, or let me know what else you might want to see. Thank you.